After playing hundreds of hours of solo Antistasi and Arma 3, I have compiled a list of mods that I believe make for the ultimate experience. Today, we'll be looking at 13 mods that can be sorted into 3 categories. At the end of the video, we will also take a look at a few mods you should avoid when playing Antistasi, as they may make your experience worse or even break the game mode completely. So without further ado, let's dive into the gameplay category. First up is Antistasi Plus. This might sound silly, but I know of heaps of people who have made a decent amount of progress starting out on vanilla Antistasi and then found out about Antistasi Plus and had to start over again when they realised how much better it is. Antistasi Plus adds a heap of features to the base game mode, including an arms dealer where you can buy and sell weapons and gear, random events like enemy drone strikes and roving mortars, 10 new mission types and a ton of other stuff, all of which add up to create an even more dynamic feeling experience. As a footnote, I will add that there is now also Antistasi Ultimate, which adds a heap more features and fixes on top of that, and the only reason I haven't recommended it instead is because I'm yet to try it for myself. However, if it does everything it says it does, then it will no doubt be my go-to in the future, and what you'll see me playing on the channel. This next mod, or rather group of mods, are basically Arma 3 royalty. I'm talking about none other than the RHS factions. In my opinion, these are the pinnacle of weapons, vehicles and units, and the RHSAFRF currently feature as the occupying force in my Antistasi Solo Series. These mods could probably fit just as well into the immersion section of this video, because they add so much realism to the experience, but regardless, they had to make the list, and it is unlikely you will ever see me playing Antistasi without at least one RHS faction in the mix. Never mind Antistasi, if you are playing Arma 3 in general, without this next mod, you probably need Jesus. Appropriately dubbed the Realism mod, ACE 3, or ACE as it is commonly known, adds so much to the game that for me it just feels wrong to play without it now. It includes a new interaction system, medical system, advanced ballistics, realistic G-forces, realistic NVG and thermal, weapon heating, combat deafness, and that is just scratching the surface. This mod really is a must-have. Last up in the gameplay category is one people will either love or hate, and that is Ace Pharmacy. This mod adds a bunch of features and realism to Ace Medical and makes the squad medic a vital part of the team, as non-medics are not able to complete complex procedures like giving blood or closing wounds. I personally love this mod because it means I am basically only able to render first aid to a casualty, and then the rest is either up to the medic or I need to get the downer squad member back to base to heal them fully with Antistasi's Restore Units feature, which makes for some awesome plot twists and dynamic situations. First up in the quality of life category is CH View Distance. This simple but incredibly useful mod allows you to change both your view distance and terrain quality on the fly using simple keybinds. This is incredibly useful for preserving your FPS in situations where things get intense and you don't need to be able to see 1 or 2 clicks out. You can just quickly chop down your view distance and squeeze out every frame possible and then easily increase it again when need be. This one is definitely a game changer and I highly recommend it for any Arma 3 game mode, especially if your PC is a spud like mine. This next mod's name pretty much tells you everything you need to know. Better inventory. Such a simple change that makes your inventory so much less frustrating to navigate. Shout out to this mod's creator, you are a lifesaver. This really is how the game's inventory should have looked at release. Rounding out the quality of life category is integrated AI voice control. On me.
Copy.
Formation staggered column. This mod is the backbone of my Antistasi Solo Series, and you won't catch me playing solo Arma 3 without it. To be perfectly honest, I didn't have high hopes when I first downloaded this mod, but it far exceeded my expectations. It is easy to install and set up, no third-party plugins required. Just subscribe like any other mod and then do a few voice recognition training sessions through the in-game pause menu, which only take a few minutes and you are good to go. It does struggle when I try to use numbers to select individual members of my squad, but there is a good chance that is just my terrible New Zealand accent, and it is really an issue anyway, as I always segregate my squad into fire teams and give commands to blue team, red team, etc. This is another mod that could easily be in the immersion category as well, because it makes such a difference to the realism factor. There is nothing more immersion breaking than having to scroll through a menu to give your squad orders, and this mod completely removes the need to do that. The first 3 mods in the immersion category all come from the same developer, and therefore feel very natural when used together. First up is Align. This mod adds slight motions while lining up your sights, and after that, while keeping them aligned. This is a minor change, and I haven't noticed a decrease in my already appalling accuracy, but it does get rid of the super stiff feeling of aiming down sights that you get with the vanilla game. Next up is Immerse, which is actually 4 mods that were previously separate, all compiled into a bundle. This mod adds cam shake for explosions, a slight twitching when a weapon is fired nearby, and a slight screen shake, as well as a radial blur and darkening of the screen when firing. This next mod does an awesome job at simulating something that is pretty hard to portray in a video game, and that is the fear of losing your life. Suppress adds a tunnel vision and blurring effect to your screen when rounds are landing nearby or whizzing past your face, and the effect scales depending on how close the round is to you, the caliber of the round, and how long you have been suppressed. I personally love this mod. In a real life combat situation where the tiny bit of cover you have is being peppered with 7.62 until it looks like Swiss cheese, it is unlikely that you're going to pop your head out to catch a glimpse of the guy raining hell on you. Suppress lets you know exactly when you're in that situation, which isn't always as obvious in a video game as it is in real life. This mod has made such a difference to my experience, and for the reason mentioned previously, I think it has actually made me better in a firefight. PvP is also made considerably more realistic using this mod, as you are actually able to effectively suppress an enemy while maneuvering your squad. So Align, Immerse, Suppress, all made by the same developer and all come together to significantly improve the feel of a firefight. Blastcore Murr Edition is by the creator's own admission resource heavy, but man does it look good. So much so that my paperweight GPU doesn't really do it justice, and on that note, if my PC can run it, yours probably can too. This mod adds a ton of visual effects, enhanced bullet impacts, blast wave effects, shockwave dust effects, stone debris from ground explosions, improved fire and sparks, visual fragmentation effects, and that's just to name a few. Of all the mods on this list, this one probably has the most wow factor, and after using it, the vanilla VFX feel pretty mediocre. In filmmaking, they say sound design is 50% of the viewing experience, and I honestly think the same applies to games, which is why I never play without improved game sounds. Arma 3 already had pretty decent sound, but this mod takes it to another level and brings combat to life. But in order for the mod to work properly, it requires the final mod on today's list, which is Enhanced Soundscape. If you have fired a gun in a valley in real life, you will know that the reverberation and reflections bouncing off the hills is one of the coolest sounds you'll ever hear. And that is exactly what Enhanced Soundscape adds to the game. But it isn't just a static reverb that is the same in all situations, it takes your surroundings into account and behaves accordingly. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some mods that you should avoid when playing Antistasi, and unfortunately, this includes one of my favourites, Lamb's Danger, and any other mods that change the behaviour of the AI, as well as a few other specific mods which you can find a link to towards the bottom of Antistasi Plus's Steam page. So that wraps up 13 must-have mods for solo Antistasi. This list of mods really makes my solo series and my Arma 3 experience in general what it is. So I would like to give a massive shout out to all the modders out there who do insane amounts of work purely for the love of the game. Their work really is what has kept this game alive for over a decade. If you would like to see more of these mods in action, then make sure you check out my Antistasi Solo Series that you see on your screen.